My name is Rashida Kayam, and I am a prosecutor addressing the general public regarding capital punishment. We live in a society that imposes inhumane practices on human lives. How do we establish balance in a society that disagrees and agrees to capital punishment? Transparency brings understanding of a society founded on discrimination. We must take mental illnesses and intellectual disabilities into consideration. It is important that the public understand their constitutional rights and close the gap of discrimination through education. In the United States, evidence must prove that the defendant is incapable of understanding the nature and rationale for their punishment at the time of the scheduled execution. Thus, individuals are likely to face the death penalty, regardless of the criminal legal system subjecting them to pervasive due process violations and failure to accommodate their disabilities during their legal proceedings. Due process violations should not render execution of individuals with intellectual disabilities arbitrary. Although in other countries, methods of execution such as hanging are the most common, and other methods are shooting, firing squad, beheading, lethal injection, execution, stoning, or falling from heights. There is no dignified way to impose death on a human life. As empirical evidence indicates that particular groups, such as minorities and LGBTQI, are targeted by prosecutors while seeking the death penalty and are more often sentenced to death, unlike the wealthy and non-minority groups. Poor representation and racism are the results of a capital conviction, thus difficult to overturn in a capital sentence based on discriminatory legal standing. My question to you: do death penalty system treat you better if you're rich and guilty than if you're poor and innocent? As a result, an unbelievable number of innocent people who have been sentenced to death, such as Walter McMillian. Mr. McMillian was wrongly convicted and sentenced to death for a crime he didn't commit. 200 people have been exonerated and released from death row since 1973. 1,630 people have been executed in the United States since 1973. 1 in 8 for every 8 people executed, one person on death row has been exonerated. For the same factor drive wrongful conviction in a non-capital cases, in death penalty cases include erroneous eyewitness identifications, false and coerced confessions, inadequate legal defense, false or misleading forensic evidence, false accusation, or perjury by witnesses who are promised lenient treatment or other incentives in exchange for their testimony. In death penalty cases, perjury, false accusations, and official misconduct are the leading causes of wrongful conviction. A record of 111 exoneration in 2018 involved witnesses who lied on the stand or falsely accused the defendant. In 50 of these cases, the defendant was falsely accused of a crime that never happened. Misconduct by police or prosecutors, or both, was involved in 79% of homicide exoneration in 2018. Concealing evidence that casts doubt on the defendant's guilt is the most common type of misconduct. which include police officers threatening witnesses, forensic analysis, faking test results, and prosecutors presenting false testimony. Official misconduct is more common in death penalty cases, especially if the defendant is black. Data shows that 87% of black exonerees who were sentenced to death were victims of official misconduct, compared to 67% of white death row exonerees. A person doesn't have to be innocent to be wrongly sentenced to death. The intense pressure to obtain a death sentence in the political stakes for police, prosecutors, and even judges can cause serious legal errors that contribute to wrongful convictions and death sentences. In Alabama alone, over 160 death sentences have been invalidated by state and federal courts, resulting in conviction of a lesser offense or a lesser sentence on retrial. As I present this to the general public, I would like for you all to further educate yourself to protect the community and your family. Thank you.